There's been a lot of sort of lip service paid to trying to get some kind of strategy in place, but just the general kind of social contact, the institutions, the people that are on the ground that could do this kind of job are not really there. And exactly as your guest says, to put anything like this in place, it takes so many years to build up the capacity, the well-trained staff, the institutions, that, I mean, it's something that France is really doing quite badly. But saying that, at the same time, France would do quite well to listen more actually to its own Muslim communities. You know, the two brothers behind the Charlie Hebdo attack were well known to local Muslims in their area as a potential problem. They were known as having a large weapons cache inside their flat. They were, you know, caught sort of hoarding weapons by a Muslim neighbour. But the Muslim neighbour didn't feel confident going to the police in France. They didn't feel confident the police would, A, do anything, or B, protect them. And this is where, you know, a sort of community policing, community intelligence-based approach, I think would be, you know, very useful.
Well, we know that France does have a very thorny relationship with its Muslim communities. We've seen various attempts by the French state to get to grips with that. There don't seem to be any easy solutions, though. Do you have any suggestions about how France can get to grips with this? Yeah,
I mean, like I said, listen to its own Muslim citizens, who are some of the best integrated Muslims actually in Europe. I mean, if you go and look at any of the large-scale surveys that have been done by sociologists in France, French Muslims overwhelmingly feel French and want to stay in France, you know, like democratic institutions, like the way of life that they've got in France. You know, I've got no support for terrorist organisations. And it's building bridges with those communities that really in the long term is what France needs to do. I mean, the problem is, in a secular state that adheres to laïcité, that seems to, you know, spend its time regulating women's swimwear, as we saw in the bikini ban, or overt religious symbols and stuff like that, they're kind of, from my perspective, putting their effort into the wrong fields.